Hello, everybody, and welcome back to All Things Football. Now, this is probably going to be the last domestic or club European football video that we're going to do for a while when we're going to be talking about the Champions League and the Europa League. Unfortunately, none of the trophies will be residing in Manchester, but I mean, life goes on. We have a special guest here today, a Manchester City fan, one of about 50 that live on planet Earth. I mean, if we don't laugh, we'll cry, innit? Chelsea beat Manchester City 1-0 in what I thought was a very, very good match, a tactical masterclass from Thomas Tuchel, and one of the best performances I've ever seen from a player in N'Golo Kante. And obviously, myself and Ibs are Manchester United fans, and we were unable to beat Villarreal on Wednesday night in the Europa League final. Now, we're going to start with the Champions League final, guys. Me, personally, I would have been hurt either way. I would have been less hurt if Manchester City won it. But what a match that was.
Yeah, I'll start. I don't understand how you can say you'll be less hurt if Man City won it, because they are rivals and no one can talk about them anymore. Whereas Chelsea, I'd prefer Chelsea to win. Obviously, I was probably supporting Chelsea yesterday just because of their youth talent. You can't not want Chelsea to win with the amount of youth players, especially the amount of players who've come through the academy and have now gone on to win the Champions League. Whereas City, yes, Foden came through the academy, but most of their players just bought, and yet they didn't manage to win it.
I mean, we both have our reasons, and I can understand yours fully. But for me, the rivalry that I personally have with teams like Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool stem way deeper than whatever Manchester City are. Yes, jokes, they're only relevant since, I think, 2009 or 2008. But in reality, I've never worried about Manchester City. When they win the Premier League, it's a topic for about 14 hours and we will move on. If Chelsea win the Premier League, we talk about it for a week. If Arsenal won it again, we talk about it for a month. If any other team wins the Premier League, it's a big deal. But because of Manchester City's rise and the way they, got the players and the money, I just don't really see them as a proper rival. Yes, we're both neighbours, Manchester City, Man United, but they're not really a team that bother me that much, if I'm very honest. I just hate Chelsea as well.
Yeah, what have you got to say about that, Iman?
Well, I mean, fair enough. Like, we did become relevant in like the last 12, 13 years, but I still feel like we should be counted you need to put some respect on the City because, like, fair enough, we've been given the oil money to, buy the players we need. But if you really think about it, like, in most cases, without money, there isn't really much you can do. And we have seen that happen with like the likes of Arsenal. Without money, you can't really do anything. And as of the Champions League final, honestly, I have no words. I'm so gutted about that. Like, if we've been in the Champions League for about 10 years, and we've become a threat for the past, let's say, 3-4. And the furthest we've been, other than this season, was the semi-finals. Can't lie, that's poor. For £1 billion, that is very poor.
It is poor. However, we're talking about Chelsea at the same time. Chelsea have spent money. Was it 250 million they spent this last summer?
Yeah.
Obviously, their top signing was the match winner in the end. So their money has been paid off. But it's not like they haven't spent money. So fair enough, you do have to spend money. And yes, City have spent money. However, the fact that, as you said, spent over £1 billion over the last decade and still haven't won obviously the greatest European trophy is a shame, especially with the best manager in the world, Pep Guardiola.
I'm going to be so honest with you. I don't think he's the best manager in the world. This isn't because of what just happened. This is because of his career. I believe that if he had the budget of someone like Solskjaer or someone like Klopp or someone like Wenger, he wouldn't have done as much as he could have. He wouldn't have achieved as much. He obviously is a great tactician. He's one of the best, but I don't think he is the best. I would take it as far as to say if he never managed Messi, he would never have won a Champions League. I don't think if he had Messi, he would be where he is today. Because yes, he was in charge of one of the best Barcelona teams ever, or probably the best ever club side in history of club football. And yes, obviously you have to have some sort of quality and skill to manage them and take them to glory, but he hasn't won a Champions League without Messi. He bought his he went to Bayern Munich, got what he wanted there, won the league a couple of times, didn't manage to win the Champions League. He's come to Manchester City, bought everybody he's wanted to buy. Yes, he's won the Premier League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, but the trophy that they really want is a Champions League, and he hasn't been able to deliver that. And I think now there genuinely has to be some questions asked. Now, we spoke about this before the stream started. In the final, the lineups, I think the biggest omission was Rodri, because he probably would have started over Fernandinho if one of them was to start. But in the past, Pep has been accused of overthinking when it comes to finals and doing stuff that you just wouldn't expect. And although Rodri or Fernandinho didn't start, I don't think it would have been a surprise to as many people as you think, because he's been here before and he's messed up before. Now, you're a Manchester City fan. You watch them, I would assume, every match, whereas I don't. Why do you think he done that?
I'll be honest with you. I'll be so honest with you. Myself, as a Man City fan, I do not know. We've played 59 matches out of 60 matches this season. 59 of those matches, we played either Rodri or Fernandinho. I don't know why he would choose in the most important match to just change everything all of a sudden. Fair enough, we did lose to Chelsea twice already this season, but I still don't think that's a valid excuse to change it up, especially with a side like Chelsea, who are very, very defensive. So it kind of makes sense to why we played what we did play, but also they're a very counter-attacking team, and we need to know how to stop that, or just to make sure that they don't get close to scoring from that. So I really can't say why he would have done that.
I think it's kind of like a 50-50 thing, because as he said, Chelsea are very defensive. So if the past two occasions you've lost, of course Pep has to change something if you've lost those past two occasions and maybe go slightly more attacking. However, at the same time, as you said, Chelsea counter-attack, and then that's where the defensive issues were, because there was no protection in front of the back four. Obviously, Rodri or Fernandinho weren't there. So I think this time it just didn't pay off, whereas I think it's just like a 50-50 decision in that regard.
I don't think it's a 50-50 decision. I think you just have to go with what's best. Yes, Tuchel has beaten Pep Guardiola twice since now 3 times since he's been at Chelsea. But I think it was Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, and I want to say Phil Foden as a midfield 3, if I remember correctly. Gundogan, I would say, is an all-round midfielder. He can play attacking midfield. He can kind of play defensive midfield, but I guess you just need someone like Rodri or Fernandinho. It's all about. I think it's all about the mindset and knowing where to be, because when you're a specialist in that position, I think you can do your job primarily without thinking to do it to a high enough quality. But then at the same time, Rodri, I think when he came to Manchester City, it was kind of an unknown quantity, because he was relatively new at Atletico Madrid in terms of his first team action. And I personally didn't know too much about him, but I think he's very underrated in the sense that he's amazing on the ball. He would have been able to progress the ball way better than most of the other players in this position in the world. I think having Gundogan there was a massive mistake, because yes, he's good on the ball, but he's not a specialist in that defensive midfield position, especially coming up against someone like Kante and Havertz and Mount. You need someone there who's just best in class, really. And if you don't have Rodri or Fernandinho, who's a veteran, he's been doing it at the highest level for at least 8 years now. I just think he overthought the whole situation. And I don't know if this is true, but apparently Thomas Tuchel and Pep Guardiola had dinner together and they were discussing tactics. That might have been a joke, but if they actually did that and he's gone and lost the final, you have to say that's just arrogance. It's lost you the game.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's a tough one for you to accept.
But we can't take anything away from Chelsea. At the end of the day, they stuck to the game plan Thomas Tuchel set out with, and obviously, in the end, that one mistake from Zinchenko, and Kai Havertz got the goal. But it still came about. There's literally like a massive gap in their defense, and that one ball split the defense open. And I don't know. I think it's quite poor from City. and the fact that they've had the best defense this season, and for that to happen in the Champions League final as well, I don't even know how I feel as a City fan.
Like you was there yesterday. I was in
Yeah.
your house watching the game. I was almost about to cry. As soon as the whistle blew, I just went home. I was close to tears on my way home. It was so sad. It was so sad. But yeah, you can't take anything away from Chelsea. Chelsea were the better team yesterday. They did play better. So I feel like you have to give it to them. And as for City, I just don't know what happened. Like Sterling, who else was there? Mahrez, Zinchenko's. Okay, Zinchenko did play decent, but that one mistake again. I feel sorry for KDB because although he didn't have the best match, he came off injured, and I feel like he still could have done something in that final 20 minutes. Bernardo Silva, he was decent, but then obviously he had to come off because we didn't have that we didn't have that man there to like drop back. That's why we brought on Fernandinho. But I feel like for City, our star man was Kyle Walker because he was everywhere. Like I have to give it to him. But yeah, like everywhere, every man on that Chelsea team played class yesterday. So you have to give it to them.
What do you think about the omission of João Cancelo? I think he would have been a better choice at left back than Zinchenko. To be honest, I think he's been one of the best fullbacks in Europe this season. He's definitely better on the ball and I think off the ball than Zinchenko. I just think there was a couple of players, 2 or 3 players that should have played that just didn't play for whatever. It didn't even get on the pitch. I just can't help but think he just overthought it, man. He's like, I'm Pep Guardiola. I can do this and it will work. It just didn't work in the biggest match in your history, not just of your season. It's tough.
Very, but I think I had this conversation yesterday about Zinchenko not starting. I feel like with that team that we played yesterday, I feel like that team was a better choice for Zinchenko not to start, for Cancelo not to start, for the pure reason that Cancelo is just more attacking and he's hardly in his position when you need him to be there. So although it could have been better going forward and we could have had more chances, but then again, we could have conceded 2 goals, 3 goals. So I feel like for that reason, that's why Zinchenko started. And for our attack, Sterling should not have been on that team sheet. Sterling should not have been on that starting 11. Oh my goodness. For a man that's been out of form all season long, he's not been at his best for how many months now to start in the biggest game of our history when there's Rodri who could have played over him, played in the DM, or so Bernardo Silva can play in that centre forward role, which we have been doing in the last 4 or 5 Champions League games. It's silly. It's silly.
I mean, I think Raheem Sterling gets too much hate. I think he's been obviously not on the same level as David Silva or Aguero, Yaya Toure, but he's been one of the players in your recent history that's helped you get to where you are. He's been one of City's best players for the past couple of years. He was even wearing the armband in the final, which I think is bigger than people might think. He's played in big matches. He's played in the World Cup semi-final. He's played in Champions League semi-finals. He's played in all the finals you've had in recent years. I don't think it was a shock to see him start. Yes, he hasn't been on form, but there are some players that when you put them in, they turn up. They just turn up on a big day. He had an all right game, but Reece James just had a blinder of a game.
Yeah.
No, I think with Sterling, it's like you don't drop those kind of players, or I feel like a final is your place is based on merit or based on how you've been the whole season. Yes, he hasn't been performing the last few games. However, over the whole season, over even last season, he's earned his place to start in the final.
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't really be like that because you want to be playing the best players who are in form. I really expected Foden to start left wing and obviously Sterling to be on the bench, just like how it's been the past few games. But in the final, it changes as players earn the right to start in those games. However, it just obviously didn't work because Reece James, as he said, had him in his pocket the whole game.
Yeah, he was part of that back five Well, the back three that turns into a back five. I think one thing that Tuchel has done so well at Chelsea is bring back the three at the back, because obviously Conte had it at Chelsea a couple of years ago and they won the league and everyone was like, oh wow, this is a new formation, which obviously it's not. But I think in England, the four at the back is just like the staple. The 4-4-2 was what it was 12 years ago. Now it got to the 4-2-3-1, the 4-3-3. But I think Tuchel has just taken Conte's three at the back to a whole new level. There was a few freeze frames in the post-match analysis on the BT Sport where it just showed why Chelsea won. You had a three with the two wing backs just in front of them, two in the middle. I think it was Jorginho and Kante, and then three in the middle and then two up front. So it was like a 5-3-2 when Manchester City had the ball. There was 17 yards between the attack and the defense. No space at all. And that's just, for me, I'm going to bring this back to every manager in the league. And every time anyone says a manager needs more time, this and that, Tuchel's done that in a few months. He's been able to instill a system within all of the players that aren't his, by the way. He hasn't had a transfer window yet. Players that aren't his, take them to the Champions League final in the biggest match of their season in recent years and perform that formation so perfectly against the best side not anymore, apparently, the best side in the world in Manchester City. I think it was just amazing, and a massive shout goes to N'Golo Kante as well. He's a shout for the Ballon d'Or?
What he does.
Yeah.
I would say yeah, absolutely.
If France go on to get to the final at least of the Euros, I wouldn't be surprised to see him finish in the top three of the Ballon d'Or.
But the thing is, why don't get with City? You'd fully back City to break down a team that sits back in a low block. I think that's where Tuchel deserves the credit, and the whole Chelsea team deserves credit, because to withstand the pressure from City, even though I don't think they were at their best in terms of applying the pressure, but still to withstand that pressure and not allow anything to come past, blocking shots on the line, clearing the ball. Chelsea literally just sat back and just defended for their lives in that final.
Yeah, Ole needs to take notes, honestly. And that's not even me trying to be funny. He needs to take notes, because the low block is something that we've tried to play against the bigger teams and fluffed our lines at. But you have there a perfect example of how a team is meant to be lined up when you're defending. Manchester City had the ball just in their half, like just on the halfway line, but the rigid formation was still there. If the ball got passed over the forwards, the midfielders and the defense would push up a tiny bit, like literally the tiniest bit, just so that maybe the Manchester City midfielder couldn't even turn. It was a perfect display in a final, and it was beautiful to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, Eman, how do you think City go into next season? Do you keep your heads up or more signings? What do you think needs to change?
We have to keep our heads up. Like, there's no going back now. We have to get to the final again. We should get to the final again. We can't be worse than this season. I feel like we can only get better. There's no getting worse anymore. There's none of that. Like, we do need a couple of signings. I'll be real. Like, we need a striker. That's the first priority. We need a striker, because delivering the balls into the box, like, I've noticed so much that whenever there's a ball into the box, 9 times out of 10, there's no one at the end of it, or it's like just wide of someone. I feel like a striker that knows where he's supposed to be in the box to get to the end of the cross or to get to the end of the loose ball. I feel like if we do have that, we will win way more games than we did this season. I feel like a striker is the first position we need to get. And also, I want to say a fullback as well, because although Cancelo is very good at what he does, I feel like we need another left back who is better than Zinchenko, who's more defensive minded, so that when we do play a team that loves to counter attack or loves to just run straight at us, that someone can handle it at the left back position. So those are the two main positions that I feel like we need to upgrade next season.
You say you need a striker as well. You've been linked to Harry Kane. You've also been linked to Erling Haaland. I think those are the only two that would be able to come in and actually first of all, start every match or start as many matches as possible, and make that difference. If you got one of those players, not even the left back, Haaland or Kane, do you think? Actually, I think you already are the favourites. You will be the favourites next season for the Champions League because of the players you have and how good you are. But do you think that will take you across the line, having Kane or Haaland in your team?
100%, no doubt. Yeah, either one of them, I'll be ecstatic. Either one of them, I'll be so happy. That's like they are the players who we need. 100%.
It's a shame because one of them's coming to United. No, but the race for Harry Kane, Erling Haaland is going to be crazy this summer. Obviously, it's not just Man City and Man U looking for a striker. There's still Chelsea. Obviously, Timo Werner he had chances in the game yesterday, but still hasn't found his feet at Chelsea. There's still clubs like PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona. They're all in the rebuilding phase. So we'll have to wait and see who they choose. I know Harry Kane definitely wants to stay in England. So I don't know. I'm not too sure about the Kane situation.
I think the Kane situation for just the Manchester clubs, because I feel like those are the only two teams he could, possibly end up at. I think it's going to be all summer. It might not even be ended this summer. It might go into next year, because of how much he is, because of how stubborn Daniel Levi is. He will take both of us across the line that we want to get across. I don't think Manchester City will have a problem getting to the semi-finals or finals of the Champions League next year, because although you have a couple of older players in Fernandinho, even Kyle Walker, you still have enough youth and just quality and enough players that are still improving to just get there and win it. I think even without someone like Harry Kane or Erling Haaland, it's going to be a transfer battle, which you probably will win, to be honest, because, you have the money, you have the ruthlessness in the transfer market. You usually get who you want. And whenever Manchester United obviously have to, I'd say, battle anyone for anyone, we don't get them.
Yeah.
We just don't. It's well known that I'm seeing Alex's comments, man.
We'll get there soon.
Stressing me out. Yeah, but if you come up against us for either either Harry Kane or Erling Haaland, you're gonna get them. And if you do, I'm gonna write off the next 4 to 5 years. Honestly, just go and play badminton or something.
Yeah, I actually can't wait for the summer. There's so much going on this summer. It's crazy. Euros, transfer market. Yeah, can't wait.
I've got a question for you though. As a City fan, who would you let go? Who would you sell if you needed to raise funds? Who's the first player that you think, I don't think they're good enough to play for us anymore, and I don't think they're going to be able to fit in if we were to bring in a world-class player?
Does it have to be starting 11 or starting main squad?
I don't want you to say someone like Nathan Ake because he doesn't play. He's obviously like
yeah. But if I was to say someone, my first name was Benjamin Mendy. But yeah,
I hear that.
But other than Benjamin Mendy, I really don't know. I'll probably say Fernandinho because he's 36 years old. So although he is a good player, but I feel like he's just getting old and he's close to retiring. So yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean, City their depth is crazy. They don't really need to buy. They don't even really need to sign players necessarily. Maybe a striker and a left back, as he said, but they don't need to sign anyone necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, you do need to replace Aguero. Obviously, he's at Barcelona now, but as I said, you're going to get one of the two, Haaland or Kane. So I think you'll be fine now.
Yeah.
Alex says he's out at the moment. Every Chelsea fan is out. This is why I couldn't get them on. They're all celebrating right now. London is blue.
Yeah, no argument there.
I mean, I will say though, if we were to get Harry Kane, I think forget the Europa League. We're going for the Champions League. It'll be a Manchester derby in the final next year if we get Harry Kane. 100%. 100%.
I feel like whoever we don't get, you'll most likely get Europa League.
Yeah.
So it's one or the other.
Mm.
But yeah, Champions League's done for this year. Chelsea probably win the Super Cup. They're going to play Villarreal in the Super Cup. Should probably win that. And the way Tammy won the Champions League for Aguero and KDB.
Come on, please stop it. Please stop it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's like
my
Tammy
God.
even played. Nah, let's not do that.
He was Chelsea's joint top scorer this season, believe it or not.
Yeah. Fair play to him.
London is red. We got an Arsenal fan. Oh, mad.
Oh, these Arsenal fans, they're very brave. I don't know how
Isn't
they're
it?
so brave.
This week, like I haven't heard them all season. It's just this week I've heard them more than the past 5 years. It's crazy.
As if they won
it's
something
crazy.
this week.
Your club is down bad. They were Villarreal fans on Wednesday night, and last night they were Manchester City fans. It was tough week. It must be tough to be an Arsenal fan. We thought we had it bad. This week has been bad for me, but an Arsenal fan. Oh gosh. Wait, no. You didn't even get Conference League.
Yeah, they can't even play at the train stations and that.
No, gosh. No European football next season. They're still going to finish outside the top 6.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, Europa League, Villarreal, penalties. Now, Wan-Bissaka should have been on pens. Why is David De Gea taking pens?
I said Wan-Bissaka, man. Nah, the thing is, yeah, what I want to start off by saying it's not De Gea's fault that we didn't win that. People are, piling up. If you've seen on Twitter, on Instagram, people are giving a lot of stick and a lot of hate to David De Gea. He's one of the main reasons we've been relevant for the past 5 or 6 years. A goalkeeper shouldn't have to take penalties. Yes, he didn't save any. And his notes were leaked on Twitter, like when it says this player's going to go there. He guessed right every time, apart from Moy Gomez, who went down the middle, and I think he was meant to go to David's left. The penalties were just amazing. I've never seen such an amount of penalties, just unsavable penalties. I don't know what Villarreal have been practicing, but everything was top bins, side netting, top net. It was, you can't save those ones. So I need to back my boy De Gea, man. I can't let him go through all of that because it's just not his fault. The goal we conceded, I don't think it would have been much. Yeah, it was Lindelof. He lost his man. Solskjaer, I'm Solskjaer in, yeah. I don't want him to get sacked, but he needs some media training. He needs to get some sort of a voice in the ear. He doesn't have world-class coaching staff. He doesn't. He's saying it in press conferences. Oh, yeah, we've got world-class coaching staff, world-class defensive coaching staff. The amount of goals, the easy goals we concede from set pieces, just like the one against Villarreal, is ridiculous now. Lindelof shouldn't have lost his man. The defensive line was too high. It gave them too much space to run in behind and obviously score the goal. It was tears coming from my eyes because, oh, man. I'm still not over it.
It's in the game like that.
The highlights.
But you say you're Ollie in, but it's in a game like that where I want a Pep Guardiola to manage our team because then he knows how to break down a team that sits back in a low block. Ollie, what tactics did you see implemented to enable us to break down that low block? You
say this and that, and you would want a better manager in the final. But Ollie's he has so many people on the fence because he gets you second in the league. He gets you 3 wins over Man City in a year. He gets you a win against Chelsea. He doesn't let you lose against Liverpool. But then when you come up against the low block teams, you win 8 out of 10 games against them. But it's just, I don't know how to explain it. Villarreal sat deep the whole match. And that's why someone like Scott McTominay was able to get the man of the match award, because you have so much time on the ball. I think it's less to do with Ollie and more to do with the players. Ollie has tactics because you don't get second in the league if you don't have tactics. So that's a myth. But when you have players on the pitch who are just not completing passes, that's not on Ollie. It's not Ollie's fault that I don't make that 5-yard pass. It's not Ollie's fault that I overhit that pass. Do you know what I mean? We have world-class players. We have Luke Shaw. I don't care. He's world-class. What anyone says, he's a world-class fullback at the moment. We have Edinson Cavani. He's a world-class striker. We have Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba. All of those players, they didn't have a good game. That's not on Ollie. That's on them. They just didn't turn up. And even Ollie said that in his press conference. They didn't turn up. Ollie is not the best manager. I'll admit that, but he's not rubbish. As I said, you don't finish second by accident. Even if Liverpool had their whole team, you finish third. You don't finish third by accident. You don't get to the final of the Europa League by accident. You don't do all of this by accident. He's improving on the job, and it's unfortunately what we have to expect because he comes in from Mulder. Before that, he was at Cardiff. I'm just seeing this orange cup here. Sorry, guys. He comes in from Cardiff. He didn't do the best there. He's still improving. And next season, when he has that creative right winger, when he has that better partner for Harry Maguire, when he has that player in the middle who can actually receive the ball and progress it quicker than Fred and McTominay, you will see what? You will see a better you will see a better string of results. You will see us not lose against or not draw against teams that sit in a low block because we have players that can move the ball quicker across the pitch. I don't think it's that difficult to see that we are an improving side. If we got battered in the final, if we didn't even make it to the final, if we finished fourth, I would say Ollie out.
No, we are definitely improving. However, obviously we expect more from our club. But Eman, as someone looking out and seeing Man United, what do you say about Ollie and his performances this season?
Okay, so he's definitely improved. That's a granted. Like he's definitely improved, obviously. But I feel like when you play, okay, cool. So you played us how many times this season? We haven't beaten you all of those times. So I feel like in the big games against the big clubs, you do your thing, you do well. But then I don't know whether it's like complacency, but against the smaller sides, but I don't know, it's just not working. It's just not working out for you. Even Sheffield, Villarreal, those types of teams, like you should be beating them 10 times out of 10. But I feel like it's some sort of complacency or just your players not working hard enough because I feel like Ollie is doing his job. He's got second in the league, Europa League final. Yeah, he is doing his job, but I feel like it's just the players that need to work harder because there were times that Rashford could have either passed it, then ran instead of trying to like dribble through the players and then just losing the ball. There's times that Greenwood could have passed. I counted like 5 times when Wan-Bissaka could have been caught on the overlap just to cross it in, and that didn't happen. So I feel like, yes, like the players just need to like fix up.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. And that's what I mean when I say Ollie can only do so much. He's not on the pitch himself. He's not controlling the players. He can only give out the tactics. When you're in training, these are the combination plays we make, like the triangles. Luke Shaw and Rashford is a great example of what you can see happens on the training ground because they formed one of the better left-sided partnerships in European football. And that's a product of the training ground because I wasn't there before Ollie was there. We have players in this team that just actually aren't good enough to be starting Europa League final for Manchester United. I'm talking about
who on the pitch do you think shouldn't have started? Because I think that team was pretty good.
No, I'm talking about they're not good enough to play for Manchester United if we actually want to win trophies. I'm talking about Lindelof, I'm talking about McFred and those three. When you improve, because Greenwood he's not a natural right winger. I mean, yes, we are looking to get a right winger, but he's good. He's a up and coming player. He's got high potential and he's actually producing already. But when you have Fred and McTominay in the middle and Lindelof, they make so many mistakes. And as well as making so many mistakes, they don't perform to a high level enough. Yeah, Fred is all right in Europe and he has a good game here and there. He's energetic. He's like just a rubbed out version of Kante. But you have to have actual good quality players, especially in the middle of the park. It's all about ball progression. When we have the ball, not losing it, not misplacing those passes. Because a couple of times in the match, I'm thinking, why not just play that 5-yard pass there? It might not look like you're doing much, but you're going to drag someone else out and then you make space. But it's always like, it's either you pass it back or you have to do the extreme other. And it's so infuriating. That's why I can't blame Ollie so much. I can't blame him so much because when you bring in the better players, I guarantee you're going to see a massive improvement.
I agree with what Eman said about it could be like the player's mentality, because Rashford, he didn't get past the fullback once that game.
Yeah.
Foyth, a guy on loan from Spurs, a Spurs reject who's gone on to win a trophy.
He was mashed up
I
as
don't
well.
understand it. Marcus Rashford couldn't get past him. Players like that who we expect to step up and have a good game didn't do it. Bruno, okay, maybe as you said, the progression, but he didn't get the ball as much from midfield. But Pogba was in midfield. Pogba has obviously had so much time alongside McTominay just because they sat deep. However, we couldn't break Villarreal apart and obviously find the goal. Yes, the goal we scored was lucky, just from a corner. But apart from that, I don't think we didn't even deserve to win the game, even though it went to pens.
We didn't deserve to win the game. I just want to say something else as well. And as you said, Bruno didn't get the ball enough. It just reminded me of something that I saw happen so many times. If you watch Manchester City, if you watch Chelsea, Liverpool, even Arsenal, even Leicester, they play those little 2 or 3 yard balls that break the line. When McTominay's running or Fred's running like across the pitch and Bruno's there with his arms down to his feet because he wants to receive the ball, but there might be a player or two there. We don't play that ball. So then all that happens is that everything just gets shifted across. Then it happens again because everything gets shifted across. We don't play the balls that break the lines. If Bruno gets that ball, he's on the turn. He's got about 4 or 5 yards. Either he can take a shot, he can play a ball through, he can chip it into Cavani, whatever. We don't do that enough. And that's what I'm talking about with ball progression. Yeah, it might look cool that you got 95% pass accuracy and you're making 80 passes a game or whatever, but all you're doing is side to side. There's no risky passes. Bruno Fernandes doesn't do that as much either. Maybe that's because of the instructions he's been given by Oli. Because when he first came in, he didn't have a high pass completion, and that's where everybody was getting onto him. But that's because he was trying those passes. We don't do it anymore. And that's something that I've noticed a lot, and it gets to me because I can see it. If I can see it, they can see it. But they're just choosing not to do it. And as I said, maybe they don't have the self-belief. Maybe McTominay doesn't have the self-belief. Same with Fred, because yes, they play for Manchester United. Yes, they're good because they're professional footballers. They have to be very good footballers, but they're not of that level of a Mason Mount, of a Phil Foden. Yeah. They would do that in a heartbeat. They don't even have to think about that. A little dinked ball into Bruno Fernandes' feet. It's 2 yard pass, but you've now created 10 yards of space. It's little things like that, and that's why we need some other people in the midfield.
Yeah. Talking about Fernandes, I asked Eman, are you surprised that a club like City didn't sign Fernandes?
I'm not surprised at all. Like, it annoys me sometimes when I keep hearing a debate of Kevin De Bruyne versus Bruno Fernandes. Like, because they're on 2 different levels. Like, okay, yes, Bruno Fernandes, good play, very, very good player, maybe world class, but like, I don't think he's that player that can like turn up when you need him most. Like, okay, yeah, he gets a goal here and there. Okay, cool, he gets an assist. Sometimes he scored a very good goal, but you need like a De Bruyne who could find a pass from 100 yards away. Like, you need a player that can create everything from nothing, and that's why that's why I'm not surprised that we didn't sign De Bruyne. We didn't sign Bruno Fernandes.
It was what you've got to say about that, because I agree and disagree.
I feel like obviously you had KDB at the time, so it makes sense that you don't sign Bruno. However, I can see Bruno being in that City team. I can see him in that team. I can see Pep utilizing him very well in that team, because Bruno is not just a 10. He can play deeper. He can play in the 8. So, but at the same time, I get what you mean. He can't always create something from nothing. However, this season he has had so many assists and goals. Is it 29 goals?
I want to say 20, 28 or 29.
Yeah. So he has been involved. Yes, most of them have been pens. However, he can create chances, but I get what you mean. But he can't. He's on a different level to KDB. KDB is obviously far higher than he is, and I think it's understandable that City didn't get him.
Personally, I think it's trendy to discredit what Fernandes does. He's never been a player that's going to pick the ball up just in his own half and play that through the needle, through the pass through the eye of the needle. That's not his game. His game is to get the ball on the turn and just play a simple pass or chip it over or take the shot and score. He's that type of player. I've heard people say he's the least technical player, and I'd agree with that. But when you're playing in the 10 in his position, it's all about end product. It's all about getting that final pass. It's all about scoring that goal. It doesn't matter what you do before you get the ball. It doesn't matter if you have to beat 4 or 5 players or play a ball through 4 people's legs, as long as you get the assist. Bruno Fernandes gets hated on for his goal contributions because apparently they're all penalties. But 1, he's only scored 9, I think, this year. And 2, he's got a lot of assists and a lot of goals. He's one of the best players in his position in the world. I'd say Kevin De Bruyne is, because he looks better on the eye. If you're talking about the eye test, you'd pick Kevin De Bruyne. But honest to God, if I'm talking about if I want final product and who do I want to be more productive in the team, I'm having to take Bruno Fernandes. Because this season, especially this season, he has shown that he's capable of... He does turn up. He does... what's it called? Yeah, against the bigger teams, he might have tougher games, but that's because he's come up against tougher players. He's going to get man-marked. He gets drowned out of the game. And that's why someone else might turn up. We still beat Manchester City. We still beat Arsenal. Did we beat Arsenal? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't.
We did. Arsenal's our bogey team. We still beat Chelsea. We still beat Manchester City. We still beat Tottenham. Bruno Fernandes might not get the goal and an assist, but then you have players like Rashford. Then you have players like Pogba, and that's fine by me as long as we get the win. You lot can talk all you want about Bruno Fernandes. He's still producing the best numbers of any midfielder in the world, and I don't think you can argue with the numbers.
But yeah, KDB. He said Bruno Fernandes over KDB. That's what you're saying, right?
Who, me?
Yeah, just say it.
I said I said KDB's. He's better on the eye. He's obviously better with the passing. He's long distance, short passing. But if I want end product, if I want the stats, if I'm going to say it like that, I'm going to take Bruno because he has more goals and assists, and it's a fact. He has more goals and assists. Bruno Fernandes is just get the ball and let me get a goal now. The way Manchester City and Man United are just complete 2 different teams.
That's fair enough. I mean, it's a tough debate, but let me just check.
Are you back trying to get my stats?
No, I can't find it, but yeah, Champions League and Europa League's over for this year. We back in the Champions League next season.
We're going to win the Champions League. We're winning the Champions League. Tell you that now. If we get Koundé, if we get Rice, Basuma, Sancho, and Kane.
Yeah, if we get all those players, we win the Champions League.
But do you realistically think you're getting all 5 of those players? Let's be real.
I tweeted something a few days ago. If this was Chelsea, yeah. I mean, we're not Chelsea, but if it was Roman Abramovich and his backroom staff, yes. You get those players and you offload the players that you need to raise the money. But because of the way we're run, we're going to get 2, maybe 3. Definitely getting Sancho, getting a centre-back, and we'll probably end up panicking on the final day and bring in like Sven Bender or something, someone like that. Just someone in the DM position.
The thing is, I feel like we're going to get Kane. I feel like that's going to be the big signing of the summer, Kane. Yes, Sancho. But do you think we can get Sancho and Kane?
Yeah, because we're going to sell players. Well, we have to sell players. Like, I think Pogba, first of all, I think he has to go this summer because
I don't get money for him.
I can't see him signing a new contract again. And if he leaves for free, because of the business nature of our club, yeah, I can't see them letting Pogba leave for free. Because if he leaves this summer, you get about 65 to 70 million for him because of his marketability, his actual quality, and because of who he is. You get a lot of money from him, even though he only has 1 year left on his contract, I think. So instantly there you have about 60 million. Get rid of Andres Pereira, Phil Jones, Mata, Matic, Lingard, and I know there's someone else, maybe even Dan James. you get at least another 80 million from that. So straight away, with our supposed 150 million net spend budget, you've just added an extra 100 and 130, 140. So yes, I think we can get Kane, Sancho, a good quality DM, and Jules Koundé. I want Jules Koundé because we're not getting Varane, and I don't want Pau Torres.
Yeah, Torres you can't have Torres and Maguire at the back.
I think they're too alike.
Yeah, they're exactly the same position as well. I think Torres was left centre back as well.
Yeah. Also, apparently Jan Oblak is open to a move away from Atletico, and if you had a swap deal between Oblak and De Gea, maybe plus a bit of cash, I wouldn't say no to that. I think we're coming for the league, we're coming for the Champions League, we're coming for the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. So we're going to win the quadruple next year. That's all I'm saying. Confidently. Call me Ty from AFTV, but I'm confident we can win it.
Yeah, no treble for City this season. It's hard. It's hard to do it.
We had the possibility of 4 trophies this season, and we've only it's sad to see. It
wasn't even the FA Cup, it was a Carabao Cup.
The worst of them all.
You got the banter double.
That's crazy. Carabao Cup, that's nothing anymore. That's nothing special. We get that every year. That's standard. But like FA Cup, we should be winning the FA Cup. Fair enough. Yet again, Chelsea was the better game. Was the better team that game. So it's just unfortunate.
I'm just checking something. I thought we won the treble in 2008. But Spurs won a Carabao Cup. I thought we won. I mean, Spurs won a Carling Cup in 08. I thought it was us.
We won the Premier League, UEFA Champions League, and the FIFA World Club Cup, wasn't it?
It's a treble. We won a treble in 08. Didn't we win the Community Shield? We got the quadruple in 08 with the Community Shield as well. Is that what I'm hearing?
Come on, man. Come on. You can't because technically you got the quadruple as well then.
Let me check this. Yeah, we won it in 08. We got the
I remember City were calling themselves the Formidables.
Yeah.
Man said Formidables, you know.
Yeah, I remember.
Your fans are so shameless. So shameless. Oh my.
Formidables, yeah. All of them.
You guys will. I don't think any team in the Premier League, at least for the next 5 or 6 years, will ever win the treble. It's too difficult to do.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, there's too many teams that are fighting for the trophies. You got about 6 or 7 teams that are fighting for every trophy at the moment. It's too difficult to win the treble. I don't think it'll be done.
Mm. But yeah, that's the end of the domestic season. We're now going to the internationals, Euros. I think it starts in 2 weeks.
Something like that.
Quickly before we end the episodes, I want everyone to say their predictions for obviously the Euros. Who you think is going to win, or what you think the final is going to be?
Oh, I ain't even
quickly
thought about
let me check Euro.
This has to be France.
Euro 2020. You're going with France?
I think it has to be France. If you're talking about the winner, France. Their team is too good.
The team I want to win, Portugal, but realistically, I'll probably say France as well. Like they're strong everywhere. They don't have a weakness.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. Actually, you want Portugal to win, but you think France. I think we're gonna have a repeat. If obviously the trees line up,
that's true. Yeah,
I think we're gonna have a repeat of the.
I think the tree does line up. I think it does line up that way.
Oh really?
I think it does.
It depends where they finish in their group, doesn't it?
And it does depend who finishes where in the group. But it could potentially be France, Portugal again.
Yeah,
but I mean, have you seen Portugal's group though?
Yeah, their group is so peak. Germany, France, Portugal, Hungary, and then only 2 teams qualify. Potentially 3. No, potentially 3 teams can qualify because apparently the 3rd team out of all the groups who has the most points goes through.
France win that group, Portugal second, and then they'll meet again in the final. I forgot they were in the same group actually. Yeah, I think we'll see a repeat of the previous final, unless obviously England can do something, because you look at Spain, they're not the Spain they were 6 or 7 years ago. You look at Germany, they're not the same as 2014. I can't, off the top of my head, think of another international team in the Euros that could genuinely challenge France or Portugal, and I'm going to slip England in there as well. I can't think of another team.
Not at all, because there are teams that on paper you should be seeing they should be contesting, like Belgium. Belgium is a prime example. They have such good players, they have such a strong team, but when you look at them and how they play in game, it just doesn't add up. It really doesn't add up.
They're like a Ferrari at the top, and then the deeper you get, the worse they get. And also, Eden Hazard has carried them for years, and either he will be there and just not on form, or he just won't play. Because Vertonghen, Alderweireld, they're past it. You've got Dennis Pratt and Timothy Castan. They both play for Leicester. I'm pretty sure they'll be playing on the wings, like the wing back positions, if they go 3 at the back or 4 at the back. It's just when you get further up the pitch, you have Lukaku. I'm not going to lie, if he comes back to the Premier League, if Chelsea sign Lukaku, by the way, because they're linked to him, if they sign Lukaku, we're not getting top 2 next season. I'll just say that now. You have De Bruyne, Lukaku. I'm going to say Dries Mertens as well. They have a few good players, but I don't think they'll be not as much as they did 4 years ago.
The thing is, England really should be doing better, but we all know they're not going to make it that far.
Nah, if we'll only make it, a decent amount if we get a favourable draw in terms of the teams after our group, because that's how we got to the semi-final in Russia. We played 2 decent teams and lost each time. We lost to Belgium twice and lost to Croatia. Other than that, the toughest challenge was Colombia, and let's be real, they're not the best.
Yeah, fair enough. But
England, they always seem to have a decent team, but they're just like the best they've come in how many years since I can remember was semi-finals, and that's poor.
Yeah,
that is poor.
We have good players, but we don't have the right manager. Gareth Southgate should not be in charge of this group of players.
No.
He should not be in charge. I think we've tried the foreign approach. We've tried Capello, Sven-Goran Eriksson, and then we've tried the English with Roy Hodgson and Gareth Southgate. It's just not working. I think the FA just need to bite the bullet and get someone like Wenger in. I'm not going to lie. Because you need that world-class manager. He might not be there anymore, but it's England. If we want to win something, Gareth Southgate is not going to be the person to lead us to glory.
Yeah. Now we'll have more episodes on the Euros. We still have to do picking our team to start the game. Obviously, Gareth Southgate couldn't narrow it down to 26, so at the moment it's 33 players who are training at the moment just to be sent home in a week's time. It's so peak. But yeah, after the 26 has been announced, we'll do an episode where we try and choose the starting 11. He'll either obviously go 3 at the back or 4 at the back. And yeah, we'll see from there. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Obviously, thank you for watching throughout when we started in January, Champions League, Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Premier League. We'll be back next season with the rest of the domestic trophies. Thank you, Anton. Thank you, Iman, for coming on.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.